Hey, how's it going? Look at some signs before I start talking, please. Oops. So, I pulled 2 cards from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. Get off of their glare. And you can get out of the way. The first one I pulled was Galactic Mushroom, and the subtitle is The Divine Matrix. Just get a load of that for the moment. I'm not quite ready to talk about it. It's a number 24 card, so we'll call that a 6 altogether. And Covenant card, the subtitle is Sacred Contract, and it is the number 7 card. So, if you'll notice, that contract, except for, like, if you look at the parchment there, except for the word contract, I believe, it's blank. So, that remains to be filled in. And I pulled a 3rd card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. Whoa. None of that. Trying to have some floppage over here. And it is. Hold on 1 second. Oh, Dragonfly card. And as you can see, the icon at the top there indicates that it is an air element card. So I'm going to start with this. You have oh, I guess I wrote some stuff. No, did I write on this one? I did not write on this one. I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, just have a look at that. Interesting. I just noticed that it's in front of an upside down triangle, which usually means like the earth element, I believe. I don't know. I guess it's on Earth. But it is like blue sky in the background is. Anyway, I'll get there. I'm going to read what it says about the dragonfly. Master of light, illusion, and the mind. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens a sense of wonder and awe. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind, as it is always moving, shifting, shimmering, and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. Are they restless or still, dreamlike or crystal clear? The infatuation. I love dragonflies. It's true, I am infatuated with them, but this is not about me. The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. And now I'm drooling. I love them so much. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind. I don't know what that was. Calming. To calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. When in balance, sees clearly, joyful, magical. When out of balance, can't concentrate, busy mind. To bring into balance, focus on the breath. That is good advice. The focusing on the breath. And so, between the dragonfly card and the galactic mushroom card, I feel like they're very spring-like, even though like it's kind of happening anyway. I guess it's a bit early, spring, but where I am, it seems to be happening regardless. It's not asking permission. It's just doing it. So, got that feel. It's been warmer. Like, I'm actually overly warm with this sweater on, and I'm not going to disrobe now, but I can't wait to get it off me. I finally was able to turn off the heater the past couple of days. even my candles are making me warm, and that's because you have a fire in the room, a couple of small fires in the room. It works when it's cold. It, really subtly cuts down on the chill factor, but anyway, not really needing them for heat so much anymore. I like the light quality. And the Covenant card also spring-like to me, because basically, also pulled some other cards, some regular tarot cards, and basically, we can renew our contracts, because we just went through the winter of our discontent. Although that real winter of discontent was the COVID one. But that's history. We don't have to dwell on that. Thank goodness. So yeah, death and rebirth. Like, we fell into winter. Oh, we just fell over. And now we're springing up again. So, renewal is what this is telling me. Well, renewal of the contract, renewal of life. And it's positive for sure, but I also feel a bit of sadness because of, you might have noticed I underlined in red. I know it's crooked. You try to write a straight line from where I was sitting. Anyway, you can read it though. I understand that after torturing the man himself, and by extension his family, because of course they're going to go through whatever he's going through, people that were not his family were going through it in sympathy with them. And so now that he's passed, the government is playing games. His mother was on a news report, several, saying that he's not following his own laws and releasing Navalny's remains to her, but they're taunting her. Like, I guess they want her to do something or say something, I guess for propaganda, to make killing the guy for like an extensively long and tortured time look reasonable or lawful. Biggest gaslight in the world. Oh my God, but she's not doing it. Bless her soul, and I hope that she's, not going to suffer for just wanting to bury her child. But they're saying things like, you better hurry up and decide, he's rotting over here. Like, what? You got people in your family that are going to die. I don't care if somebody was giving you the order. Somebody has to start making sense out of that madness over there. But it will. It's not actually my, I guess, place to be talking about it too much, because I don't live there. All I know is the people that do, if they can, a lot of them leave. What does that tell you? If everything's copacetic and hunky-dory where you live, you're not trying to leave, right? I mean, you're forced to leave sometimes, but what I'm thinking of is people that voluntarily decided to immigrate and become immigrants. And, there's a whole, espionage side. And I'm not saying that, they're the only country that does it. I'm not saying that the other countries that I have maybe said in the past do things like that. I mean, they do. They spy. We spy. It would be silly to think that we don't do it. So that's one thing that Trump had right. As far as the killing people, we don't like to think that stuff happens, but I don't know why not. We know that our country has deliberately killed its own people. So I don't know why it's such a shock to think that we wouldn't do it to our potential enemies, or just, I don't know, that whole world is so opaque for one thing, but it sounds very violent. It sounds like you're just, my God, when can you ever relax if you're from one of those countries that once you leave, you're like still a subject? Like if you're, whether you're there to like spy or not, like what happened to the Khashoggi guy, Khashoggi, I guess, is the way to pronunciate it. But he became a citizen of the United States and he was a dissident. He was not a fan of the country that he left, and because he portrayed, I think, the royalty there in a light that they didn't care for, that was worth killing the guy. So, and then Trump's people just kind of sanctioned that because, I don't know, because the guy was a brown immigrant. Would they have behaved the same way if the guy was a Russian immigrant and he got killed because he was over here talking poo about Russia? I don't know, but I hope we don't do that. If we do, then boy, that's going to take down the respect for my own country several pegs. But we do have espionage. That would be crazy to think that we don't, because I guess that's how we defend ourselves against it. And I know, like, just from reading history, historical fiction, it's kind of just like always been a thing. But we have to spy, I guess, because we're not psychic anymore. Because if we were all psychic and like trusted our intuition, because it's there, it tells us stuff and we feel it, and we just don't give it much credit for being valuable, I guess. But I feel like because of our sort of whole human evolution, losing that sense was like part of our plan, so that we could spend thousands of years wondering what the other person was thinking and inventing stuff and telling people stuff. And you know, if if you don't have that instant line of communication, or phones, which we didn't have as humans for thousands of years, you don't have that instantaneous information, and you know, your mind can just dream up stuff. Like, it really can. And I don't know how healthy that is. So I know, like, the man left behind Navalny a couple of statements, a letter that he wrote to someone that I guess was intended to be shared with the public prior to his passing, or after his passing. And he did like a couple of interviews where he knew that, I mean, he saw the end was coming. It's kind of obvious if he kept doing what he was doing for the sake of his people, by the way, which was not what, like, Putin says a lot of stuff. He has said a lot of stuff over the years. Like, let me finish about Navalny, though. He said, you can't give up. You're not allowed to give up just because he killed me. Because, well, he's right. I mean, that's the fight of their time, is to get their people, like, free from this influence and this leadership that, I mean, I don't know if leadership is actually the word, more like, I don't know, like, their livestock, basically, and he's in charge of them. They don't really get a whole lot of choices. If they do well, like by our metric of success, which is get rich, you don't get to keep your money. You know, it's not great. And I don't get the idea they use it for taxes either, because despite recent American propagandist Tucker Carlson and his, like, oh wow, Russian grocery store has food in it. They have a bakery. Well, all of them have bakeries here, dipwit. You just don't shop. Which everybody, I don't know, people that want to hear what you have to say, want to believe that stuff, want to believe what he had to say, I want to be clear, then they're buying into it. They're willingly handing over their mental change to believe that like what they got going in Russia is better than here. It's always been a we're gonna take more from you than you're gonna get country from the way that I've been able to read it. And I'm talking about in fiction, in real life, for like it's just they can't get a break, the Russians. Like they can't get someone in there like Navalny, they can't get someone in there that will treat the people fairly and not use them as tokens and cannon fodder for like one dude's ego or one dude in his cluster of barnacles. They can't wait for him to croak so they can try to be the top. I don't know. It just sounds like a rat eat rat system. And it's hard. Like, I don't know, man. It is hard for those people. They have the country, and the people have such spirit, and the whole place has such potential, and they have these people at the top. They keep ending up there, and they just are mismanaging everything. Like they have a short growing season. That kind of thing can be gotten around. There's greenhouses. There's different types of grain you can get, and I remember when I was a kid, it was like they could not grow wheat, or they never had enough wheat in Russia, and that's bread. That's a big deal. Well, not just bread, but you know what I'm saying? It's like all my whole life, this big, gigantic place has just been kind of like mismanaged. And we were the rival always. Like, I'm sure we did stuff to instigate that, but it's not our fault here in this country. Like, you guys are running it over there. The leaders over there are running things. It's not our fault if stuff is fouling up. It really is not. It's not our fault if things look better and funner and nicer and more plentiful. That's not our fault. That's on you guys, leaders. So, those people want a new start. I've been saying that since before Trump got elected, like when he was in his campaign, because it's always been obvious that he's some kind of commie simp. And somebody said the other day, oh, Russia hasn't been communist forever. I think I have already said this in a video, but I kind of just want to needle it a little bit. Yeah, okay, they've been doing capitalist things, I guess, like spending money, but whatever. They don't let people do anything. Everybody has to conform to ways or else they're a criminal. So don't tell me they're not communists, especially when the dude's dream has, even before he started messing with the Trump election, has obviously been he wants a Soviet Union to have never ended. Can you not tell? Like, he just thinks he can take places like Ukraine or Poland because they once were under the subjugation of the Soviet Union. And it's like, nope. Nobody wants that. Try again. So, this about the mind, this being a symbol of the mind and how it's shifting and changing. It says shimmering, but that seems too happy for what I'm talking about for these thoughts. However, I guess they can just fly right out of that sort of uniform drabness and conformity into the freedom of the sky out there, the great wide open. So I'm sure that's what those people's is what's on those people's minds, is like freedom from, well, you know, like the conformity, but also you're having to conform because you're basically coerced to. Like you're not free to do stuff. You're certainly not free to say stuff. I don't know why people are touting a move to the, I was going to call it the Soviet Union, to Russia. That would be better. Like, you would be in trouble immediately as an American. You would not be able to go around, like, you better be inhaling Putin's back pocket pretty closely once you arrive there, because if you say anything out of line, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be like the trials there, not like here. Imprisonment there, not like here. I don't know, like, you know, minds are shifting and changing. And that makes me think of our upcoming election, by the way, that people are very fearful that Trump is going to get reelected and he's going to do all of these things. One thing about both of those guys, they're both old and sickly. How long do you think they're going to be around? Yes, someone will come along behind them. Here, I'm not so worried about it. There, I don't live, but if I did, I'd be concerned, because I just, wow. I just saw a quote on a fiction show, but it was about warring peoples and fights over land, territory, and it was like, oh shoot, it went right out of my head. So, okay, let me go back. The two older guys are about to go, oh, if a new government begins by a coup, it never starts off well. There's always problems. It's going to knock things down. In the case that I'm talking about of Russia, the new people that will come in, they won't necessarily be better, but they have a chance. But anyway, the tower is what they're experiencing right now, or Putin. He's sick. He's absolutely spread himself too thin. You know, they have allies too, but they have to understand that if helping Putin ends up harming us, that's not going to be like a check in their column with us, you know? So, I don't know, allies are important, but you got to have foresight. You got to think about, like, if I do this, what's going to happen next? And so I thought that was an interesting line that caught my mind earlier about if you take out the government that's bad with a coup, you're not necessarily getting a new one, but those people might have to... I'm getting rock bottom really loud from this tower action. And notice... oh, wow. Oh, there it is. Okay. Notice here that the woodland creatures are like, yeah, we're just waiting for that all to pass. The butterflies, the little squirrel doesn't seem to be too disturbed. Had some magical nuts, I guess. I don't know what that is. Look, maybe it looks like something to you. It looks like lychee nuts, kind of. Maybe they're steaming. I don't know what's happening with those. It's just funny that there's like a couple of nut-looking things next to the squirrel. Sorry, sidetrack. But, you know, also, look at that tower. It's kind of like not so sturdily constructed, and all it takes is one jolt. It's a big jolt, but that jolt has been long coming. I don't know if it will be the rock bottom and an actual new end. A lot of times I've heard people say that it's probably not going to be better than Putin, whatever comes next, regardless of this whole situation now. This has been a thought I've been hearing a long time. And I kind of have to agree. I'm not like a political scientist, but I'm an observer. But what was I saying? It might take the end for a new beginning, you know, and those people have been having a winter of discontent for so long. Like every winter time, there are commercials where we're being asked to help aid older people and poorer people and pretty much just anyone, and what they want was blankets. Like, come on, that's heartbreaking. They deserve better than that. And yes, we We did sign up for everything that's happening. But if we don't realize it, that's not much of a comfort. And if you say it to somebody and they're not on the same like wavelength as you when you say it, then you just sound crazy to them. But it makes sense that after this, there would come this. And from what I understand, and this is not me wishing anything on the guy, he's very sick. He's got pretty bad cancer, and he's probably held together with like spit and tape and medication and anger. It's amazing. It's a terrible adhesive. It's not, I'm sure, doing his health any good, but in this case, this card doesn't usually stand for literal death, but in the case of what I'm talking about, it's a coming, and he's not young either. So, it'll be a good time for those people over there to, like, dump a bunch of their baggage. Wherever they're going, it's going to be uphill because they've been left in such a situation where, I mean, I honestly pray for them to have hope. Like, I trust that they'll gain it, but, and they do. They're some of the strongest people out there. They've only been suffering various terrible regimes for centuries, so I hope they can dump the baggage of the terrible governments, and the next hill they climb won't be as arduous as far as whoever's running their country or just the running of their country. They just have to, you know, be the fool. Go ahead and take that step that looks so, you know, on the one hand inviting, but on the other really freaking scary, because have you ever seen those YouTube videos with people jumping off the roofs trying to land in pools and then they don't? Sometimes they cut out the people landing and sometimes they don't, and unfortunately I've not been quick enough sometimes to miss the landing, but it looks like she could possibly miss the landing there. I miss the water is what I'm saying. You land either way, but you want to land in the water. So she's just, what can you do really? I was going to say she's throwing caution to the wind, and look, she's like falling backwards into it. Is she falling backwards? She is falling backwards. She's trusting and believing that things are going to get better, because how much worse than can they get than this and this? It has got to be time for them to have things go their way. Like, life has got to get more pleasant for them. And I think they can do it. I think they have heart. And I think also in that Ace of Cups, it can also collect from outside of it, from everywhere, the love and admiration people have for the sturdiness of the Russian people, for Navalny, for what he's gone through, for what his family still, I mean, it's a gene. I guess his wife married in, but maybe she's got the gene too. They're like not going to give up, and they shouldn't. Why is this man torturing his own people? Why would you want to do that? That's what Trump wants to do. You want Trump? You want that in your country? You want all kinds of freedoms and lovely things that you have now taken away? Even if it's something you don't agree with, like, I don't know what I don't agree with out there enough that I want it to stop, except for like murder and torture and like abuses, deliberate abuses, but stuff I disagree with on principle, I don't have to live it. I don't have to have it. I don't have to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can just leave it alone. But, yeah, I feel like that Navalny family, and probably I'm not the only one that is feeling for the Russian people too, because whatever happens with their leaders, they take it out on the people, which is terrible. Like, you need those people. They are your countrymen. They are your country. do right by them, and they will do right by the country. And it's not about a single leader. Like, you're not magic, you're not Jesus, you're not that special, you're just some dude, or woman. We'll see if they'll ever have a female leader. It seems like a stretch, though. I don't think they're that evolved in that way yet, although I don't know why. And maybe they are. They can have women astronauts and all kinds of things, but I can't think of a Russian president. Who knows? Could be one day soon. Remains to be seen. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Sorry, didn't mean to make that upside down. Either way, it's going to take the help of each other. It's going to take the help of allies. It's going to take helping each other. Drawing together, making a plan. Joining the divine matrix of love and care and support. That it's there, like all you gotta do is tap into it, like drop into your node and you're online with all of it. Yeah, I know it's charging slow. Okay, I have to go. That, I guess, was a message from my phone. Springtime, it's here. Or if it isn't yet where you are, it's on the way. It's barreling along. Trust me, everything is. Like, whatever you're feeling right now, you're not going to feel it for long. Things are changing so fast. I think that's good, though. We just got to sort of keep up with all of the changes and the shifts, and adapt and be ready. But I can't help but have a positive feeling, even though, I never, talked about it a lot, but I really respect any Russian dissident, because that is one brave human being, especially, well, I was going to say, especially if they have good, right things to say, so there, I said it. Anyway, yes, political leader, you don't make martyrs out of people who are right, by the way. He wasn't asking you to do anything horrible or unimaginable except be decent to your dang people. Oh, I know what I started to say earlier. If you want to believe this guy, let me remind you of how much he's touted his army over the years, how great they are, how they can't be beaten. And then when this war started, where was that army? Where was even the willingness? Those people practically had to be forced to go fight in this war. Or not practically, I think that really actually was the case. So, oh my goodness. I hope they do better in the coming year. The spring is hopeful. They'll, at least, their gardens will begin to help feed them, because I understand that's an issue too. And do you think they would send the American reporter to an unstocked or badly stocked store? No. And I don't even know if that's the case. It actually is not the Soviet era there. I understand that they have financial issues, which would mean that they would have supply chain issues, but I've also seen Andrew Zimmern there at a farmer's market in the north that was just bursting with supplies. So I guess you gotta you have an open mind, and I wish the best for them. Oh yes, so yeah, leader, you don't want to make a martyr of somebody who's right, and I feel like the people are not going to give up like he asked them not to, or implored them not to. But by killing the guy and doing it over such an extended period of time, they may not have had to go in there and conk him on the head or do other violence to him, but the poisoning, and he probably was beaten, and deprivation, and just I mean, do you want people to treat you like that? That is, to me, the best reason not to do that to people. But I couldn't help but think of what Obi-Wan said to Vader right before he killed him. If you strike me down now, I'll only become more powerful than you ever imagined. And that's what Darth Putin did to Navalny. He made Navalny into a Force ghost. And I'm all for it. What is the saying? May the Force be with you. I can't believe I forgot that. Thank you and good night.